Okay guys, I'm going to go ahead and give this recipe at the start of the video. That way everybody can go ahead and have it. So this right here is technically an Amish white bread that I make, but I've turned it into my own little thing that making some cheddar, jalapeno cheddar bread with it. So I'm just going to go ahead and give you the recipe, and then y'all can, follow it as you want to, and, make your own with it. So you're going to need 2 cups of warm water. You're going to need 2/3 cups of white sugar, and I typically cut it down to 1/3 because it does get a little bit sweet whenever you put that, or you could use honey. 1/4 cup of vegetable oil, 1½ teaspoons of salt, and then 6 cups of bread flour. So you can use all-purpose flour. That's what I use. I use all-purpose flour because bread flour is kind of expensive where I am. So I just use my all-purpose flour and get that cheaper, and it comes out just as just the same. But I will put all this on the comments underneath the video, and that way y'all can go in and have it. It says that it does take about 2 hours and 25 minutes total time, which I do believe that. It does take a minute for everything to rise and stuff like that. But I thought I'd just go ahead and give y'all that recipe right up front. Hey everybody, Homestead here. Today we are going to be making our jalapeno cheese bread. I've been saying I'm going to make the recipe for a little while now, so today we're actually going to get into that and do that. So first off, you're going to need to get you some supplies. So I've got me 2 bowls because this recipe makes 2 loaves. These are what you're going to sit your dough in so they can rise. This is where you're going to mix your dough in for the initial start. You're going to need some cheddar cheese, and I've got some jalapenos that we grew in our garden this year, so we're going to be adding that in there. Now I shred my cheese. You typically don't have to shred your cheese. You can always just cut it up into little pieces and put it in there and mix it that way. I do it this way, the way I think in my brain that it evenly, you'll in your loaf of bread you'll evenly get at least some cheese. So you'll also need your measurers. And then you're going to need some olive oil, and of course you're going to need your yeast. So I use the fast rising instant yeast. That's the one that I just use. It's easier for me because I don't do sourdough. This is not like a sourdough recipe. So what you're going to do, your first thing you're going to do is you're going to get 2 cups of water, and it's got to be with, I think it's like 110 degrees of warm water. So I'm going to do that. Bowl this way. And I just typically, I just kind of go by how it feels. I don't have my mic on today, but that way y'all can hear me better. So I just kind of go by how it feels. You don't want it too varying. Probably, you don't want it scalding hot. Is what you don't want it to be. Your 2 cups of warm water, and now you're going to mix 2/3 cups of sugar in there, but I'm only going to do 1/3 because this is a jalapeno recipe. So I'm just going to do the 1/3 cup of sugar. You're going to dissolve that down in there. I forgot to get my little spatula. So you're going to dissolve that down in there. Let me get my spatula so I can mix that around there. Okay. And then what you're going to do, after that's dissolved, after your sugar has dissolved into your water, you're going to go ahead and add in your yeast. So we're going to add in the yeast. And what I do is I mix mine around, just so it can all get, I guess, because the yeast that I use are like these they look like little pellets. And I try to get all of them kind of mixed in with the water. So what we're going to do now is this is going to take about 10 minutes. You want it to get bubbly on the top and kind of frothy looking. You don't want it to go too far though. So I'm going to sit this on my stove for about 10 minutes and then we'll come back from there. Okay guys, so now that 10 minutes has passed. I'm going to show y'all kind of what y'all want this to look like. See how it's pretty frothy on the top? It's pretty much what you want it to be, bubbly, frothy. That's going to let you know that, hey, it's, you know, it's ready. So now what you're going to do is you're going to get you, we're going to do a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil, and you're going to pour that right down in there. Okay, that's up to the line. So you're going to pour that in there. You're going to need 1½ teaspoons of salt. And I use Himalayan salt. Let me make sure my mic's on. Yep, okay. So I use Himalayan salt. So that's 1½ teaspoons, not tablespoons. I messed up once and put tablespoons. Husband's over there dancing. And then your half. Okay, and what you're gonna do now is you're gonna mix that together. And now you're gonna add 6 cups of flour. Now you can use bread flour. I use all-purpose flour because I don't have bread flour. But you're gonna do 1 cup at a time, mix, 1 cup, mix. So we are gonna, I have to fill this up like this because my cups don't fit down in there. Okay, so 1 cup of flour, mix. And then this will be cup number 2. Three. And as it starts to get, you know, you can do this also in a machine, like your bread mixer, I guess. Can't think of that word for some reason. You can also do it in that, in your mixer, your stand mixer. There we go. Whew. Okay, I'm going to swap over to my little spatula here. So this is going to be 4. This way I can scrape from the sides. Okay, then we'll add 5. Okay. And typically right now you can get in there with your hands if you wanted to, which I probably will here in just a minute. Pretty sure that minutes came and gone. All right. So once we get this one mixed in, I'm going to add 6. Okay, so now we'll add number 6. And then you just mix it all together. And number 6 typically doesn't mix in very well for me, so I'll pour it out on the counter and I'll finish mixing it that way. So I actually think that you could probably just get away with 5½ cups. I think that would be sufficient. I'm just going by what the recipe calls for. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to pour it out onto the counter here. And just continue to mix it in. You want to get it to where it's all mixed in into a smooth, like a smooth ball, I guess you could say. If you don't get all the flour in there, I don't really worry about it. Nothing much really changes, I guess. Number 6, I think, may possibly just be because of, for the counter. You want to mix it, mix, until you get a nice smooth texture to it. typically I get tired and then just, you know, put it in the bowl itself. Let's scoot this out the way here. Okay, so mine's not smooth, but I'm tired of doing it. My shoulder's messed up because of my goat. So I'm going to go ahead, and what you're going to do is you're going to get one of these bowls, and you're going to put it in the bowl, and you're going to cover it with a tea towel, but you want it to be a cool tea towel. You don't want it to be with hot water. You want to do it with cold water. So you're going to put this in your bowl, and you're going to let that rise for about an hour. And we'll come back in an hour and separate them out. All right, everybody, so we're back from an hour of that rising. It didn't rise like I really wanted it to. Typically, I get a better rise, so I'm wondering if it's because my house is kind of cooler today. So we're just gonna go with the flow. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna punch this down. You're gonna roll it out onto your counter. And what you're going to do is you're going to roll it again. Typically, I think I should have separated that into two because I think... So what we're going to do now is... I need to get my cutter thingy out. Yeah, I should have done it into two. That's where I went wrong. Dadgummit. It's okay. It'll still be fine. Because it's going to have to rise again for about another 30 minutes. Okay, so what we're going to do now, I'm going to put what you're going to do is you're going to flatten it out here. Get it nice and going on. I do this a million times. I don't know why I forgot that one step. Come on. Yeah, I think my yeast wasn't that great, sadly. See something right quick, because either I'm having a big brain fart or something's happening. Yeah, supposed to shape it into the loaves. Okay, so, well, I'm going to go ahead and throw some of my cheese in here. And typically this is not how I would do this. Technically, before you let it rise, that's whenever you probably should have let. So I messed up. Instead of me mixing everything in the beginning, I'm trying to do it now, which is probably not a good idea, but you can still do it. It's still going to do just fine. But you should have done it whenever we put it in the beginning. We should have just mixed everything then. But it'll be okay. We're going to fold and let it sit in our pans, and we'll still have jalapeno cheese bread. So now you're going to fold, fold, and then fold again. Pinch the sides down. Tuck your ends in. And you're going to put them in these pans. You're going to put them in the pans. And then you're going to let them rise again for about another 30 minutes. And I'm going to put some cheese on top. So we'll put that in a nice warm spot and let it rise again. So we're going to shape this out. Like I say, you just have to kind of play with this on your own, you know, as you want to do it. You can do it different ways. The way I did it was I messed up is what happened. But I'm still going to post this video because everybody makes mistakes. Clearly I made one. Put some more cheese in there. But it's still going to be good bread. And I learned one thing too, is if you let your dough overproof, you can always, it's not a loss, you can always make cheese sticks out of it. I did that the other day. I went somewhere and I forgot about my dough, and I came back and it was overproof so bad in the bowl, and I just made cheese sticks out of it. Just like this, and put it in the oven, let it cook. Alright, so now we're going to fold. Fold again. This one's going to be a big one. And fold again. That one's probably going to be too big. I probably added too much stuff. Pinch your sides. Bring it in. Put it in your pan. Yeah, that one's going to be a huge loaf of bread. And we're going to put it in the oven. Be quiet! Go ahead and throw some of this on there. You're going to let this sit for about a good 30 minutes. Technically, that takes longer to rise than 30 minutes. I've had to leave it sitting in my microwave for about a good hour and a half once. So, if we did mess up on this recipe, not a big deal. I'll show you all the results whenever it comes out. I'm sure it's going to taste just fine, guys. Well, this one rose really well, and this one didn't rise that well. That's okay. They're still going to taste good. So you put them in the oven for 30 minutes, and whoops. So you put them in the oven for 30 minutes, and then after the 30 minutes, you let them out and let them cool. I had to go somewhere, so I wasn't able to let this one rise a little bit longer, but that's okay. This one did actually really great. Looks really good. And that's what we got on our bread recipe, and I will put it in the comments below so y'all can have that recipe. It's a really good one to follow. It's really simple if you don't make mistakes like I did. Y'all have a good one, guys. See you later.